game was made of 1 month, and now it has finished voice acting. Tonight we're going to be playing a visual novel called Sapphire Snow. I've had it in my backlog for a while, and...
Before we begin, please select the sort of voice you find more soothing. This choice will determine whether Sapphire, our protagonist, encounters a masculine or a feminine entity. Please note that the voice you choose cannot be changed without beginning a new story.
I'm sorry, but it's not your time. You don't get to decide when you die, friend. That's entirely up to me.
I love the accent. Please be warned that this game does contain sensitive themes such as self-harm.
Chapter 1, Lost.
And, blood. So please, if you're sensitive to anything like that, skip over this game. I have plenty of other videos on my channel to check out.
In a distant universe not too dissimilar from our own, a young woman walked alone in a world of white. Dragging her feet through the deep snow surrounding her, Sapphire pulled her coat a little tighter around her neck to shield herself from the icy chill caressing her skin. Confronted by the almost endless expanse of snow, she began to wonder why she was even out there, cold and alone. In her heart, she already knew the answer. She couldn't carry on, she couldn't cope, she couldn't breathe. So she just left. She knew it wouldn't solve anything, but she wasn't about to suffocate in a sea of people who would watch and do nothing, or worse, whip out their phones to capture the macabre moment and share it on social media. If she was going to die, she'd rather be someplace like this. Somewhere spacious, somewhere she could simply disappear. She wasn't sure she ever existed anyway. So what difference would it make if things ended here? At least like this, she knew the numbness was real. She could already feel it creeping into her fingers and toes. It was only a matter of time before it seeped into her very soul. But Sapphire had been numb for a long time now, and when she wasn't, it was the opposite. Her emotions exploded from within her like a dormant volcano, bubbling away under the surface until they spewed out of her in waves of burning passion, untamable and all-consuming.
I know this feeling.
The more she contemplated her own demise, the more she saw the faces of her loved ones in her mind. Guilt, that was what Sapphire felt when she thought of them. They cared so much about her, and she loved them just as dearly. The idea of hurting them made her hesitant. If she left them behind, what if she made them feel how she felt now? She didn't want to be responsible for that, but if she was gone, she wouldn't feel anything anymore. She'd finally be free. They're all that had ever stopped Sapphire from doing something stupid, as people put it. Was it stupid, though? To want a way out when you can't see an end to the pain? She didn't think so.
What's the point in keeping someone alive if all they ever get to experience is suffering? Isn't that cruel? Why should a person be expected to keep going on the small glimmer of hope that one day, if you hold on just a little longer, things might mystically get better?
Because that's kinda how it goes.
We don't live in a world of magic and miracles. We live in a world where being different is practically a death sentence.
Sapphire hadn't always thought that way. There was a time many years ago when she still believed in magic. She saw the world for the wonderful place that it could be and fought back against the encroaching shadows with a childlike enthusiasm, bright and optimistic for her future. But beleaguered by bullies and beaten down over and over again, before long Sapphire was robbed of her light. Her sense of self became smothered beneath a series of torn and tattered masks she wore to stand a chance at surviving modern society. Everyone acts at one point or another, but Sapphire never left the stage. She knew others saw the person buried beneath. She wasn't a good enough thespian to hide it from them, though they never chose to engage with that part of her. Eventually, she realized that her true self was something to be ashamed of, something to keep concealed, gradually becoming more distant until she was a stranger even to herself.
I feel that.
From afar, Sapphire seemed functional. However, upon closer examination, the cracks were clear to see, strained and slowly crumbling, much like the battered bear she carried close to her wherever she went. No matter how hard Sapphire tried to piece herself back together, she'd always end up falling apart again, which is why she was there, trudging through the blanket of snow. Paranoid, Sapphire paused, patting her coat pocket just to check that her beloved bear was still with her. She knew it was strange to carry around a stuffed toy at her age, but she didn't care. The bear brought her comfort in times when she had no one else to turn to. Safe in the knowledge she hadn't lost him, Sapphire continued her trek through the winter wilderness.
Sapphire, it's my professional opinion that you are indeed on the autistic spectrum.
The very second she heard the psychologist speak those words, she knew she was doomed.
You're what we used to refer to as high functioning or having Asperger's, but now we tend to just call it ASD.
Sapphire thought knowing one way or the other might make her feel empowered, grant her some degree of control that she was sorely lacking in her life, and it did, for a short time. Once her initial relief subsided, though, Sapphire felt the nagging weight of the diagnosis pulling down on her heart.
Congratulations! You've been diagnosed with never-ending despair. Just what I've always wanted.
She said Sapphire wasn't broken, that there was nothing wrong with her, the problem was other people. She told Sapphire the world was changing, albeit not fast enough. That one day, with any luck, it would be a kinder, more accepting place for neurodivergent people like her. But Sapphire wasn't sure she could wait much longer. Sapphire didn't make the trek out into the wilderness intending to die, but she couldn't help dwelling on it. Those kinds of thoughts had become a constant companion, more comforting than unsettling.
I don't think I even want to die. The problem is, I don't exactly want to live either.
Yeah, just be somewhere in the middle. Unsure of how to get there each day.
If I end up back where I left off, things will carry on until I'm withered and old. Stuck, hollow and alone. Like a ghost haunting its own home. Or worse, I could be carted into care against my will, left to rot in some ghastly place people put you in so they can shield the rest of society from the inconvenience of your existence. Who the heck would want that?
Sapphire would rather take her chances out in the elements. At least like this, she was closer to nature instead of isolated indoors.
I guess, for now, I'll just keep walking and see where I end up.
Whether or not she would make it back home, she elected to leave up to fate. And fate found Sapphire sooner than she could possibly have imagined.
Yeah.
Chapter 2. Found.
I've been found.
Growing weary of walking, Sapphire decided to stop for a moment, taking in the pristine white glow all around her before sinking to the ground with a strained sigh. Her winter coat did little to protect her from the biting cold beneath, but she lay still regardless, staring up at the blurry sky as snowflakes danced and drifted above her, falling softly onto her face. Exhausted, Sapphire contemplated simply staying there. Closing her eyes, she began to sink slowly to sleep when her rest was suddenly interrupted by a rustling sound nearby.
Excuse me? You can't sleep there. You'll freeze!
Meow.
Leaping to her feet, startled, Sapphire squinted, scanning the snowscape for any sign of the voice's owner.
Who's there?
She called out, wondering if she had merely imagined the sound.
Meow.
Down here?
It's a dragon.
Casting her eyes towards the ground, Sapphire gasped aloud at the creature stood proudly before her.
Dragon!
This is gonna sound kind of crazy, but are you a dragon? I know you're not supposed to exist, but the horns and the wings, you sort of look like one. Well, a short one anyway.
I'll have you know, I'm actually pretty tall for my kind. That's not a bad guess, though. Unfortunately, dragons don't exist. Or at least, not anymore. Your kind hunted them to extinction eons ago.
I knew
Us
it.
elementals, however, have thankfully proved more elusive.
So you're a snow elemental?
An elemental? So then you're like a snow spirit?
Yeah. Sapphire and I are so on the same page.
Bingo! Well, a blizzard, if we're being specific. But enough with the introductions. Your body temperature is dangerously low, my friend. I don't know who you are or why you're out here, but we need to get you warm and fast. Follow me.
Before Sapphire even had a chance to respond, the creature bounded off into the blanket of white.
Wait!
Oh, come on, Slowpoke. Get those legs moving. The faster you run, the faster we can get you out of danger. This is my domain, and I won't have you pointlessly passing away in the ice. Understood?
Meow. Well, bear with me. I don't really move too fast.
But my feet are practically frozen. I can't even feel where I'm treading. Can't you slow down just a tiny bit?
Fine. But if you pass out, just know I won't stop hugging you until you wake up.
Oh, but that sounds adorable. You know, I think I might be feeling a little faint.
Don't you dare! I was only kidding!
But you look so cute and cuddly.
Yeah, well, if you succumb to the cold, I won't be able to bring you back. If I did hug you, it'd just end you even faster.
Oh dear.
Why? Do you have like a death grip or something? I can't exactly imagine you crushing me to death.
Come here a second. I'll show you.
He's probably really cold.
Doing as commanded, Sapphire approached the elemental who held out its hand for her to grasp.
Now take off your glove and shake my hand.
Holy hell, you're freezing!
Sapphire recoiled in horror the moment her skin made contact with the creature.
Exactly. I can only control the element of ice. A hug from me would be fatal in your current condition. Still want one?
I'm good.
Maybe.
Oh, you're hopeless.
Though falling asleep in an icy embrace isn't a bad way to go out.
So, where is it you're taking me exactly? There's nothing out here but more snow.
Uh-huh. That's because you don't know where to look.
Well, just as long as it's not the way out. I'm not ready to go home yet.
Good. Because you're in far too deep to turn back now. You never make it back before the cold claims you.
Thank goodness.
But why do you even care about me at all? I got myself into this mess. It shouldn't be your problem to deal with.
Oh, but it is my problem. Very much so. Think of me as a kind of warden.
Sometimes we all need help getting ourselves out of the hole we dug ourselves into.
Like the type you get patrolling nature reserves and stuff?
Precisely. It's my duty to watch over this place. Imagine how awful it would be if I just let you die on my turf. Ugh, no. No. You're here, and I'm happy to help. So that's that.
Okay.
Sapphire wanted to ask the creature more, but her voice seized in her throat. She sensed something from the spirit, but was too anxious to question it further.
We're not too far now. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and everything will be fine, my friend. Come on.
It's getting darker.
As promised, it wasn't long before the pair reached a thick and flourishing tree line that was somehow obscured from Sapphi's sight by the snow. With each shivering step into the forest, Sapphire noticed the light changing around her.
What is this place?
Somewhere very, very special. Now don't dawdle. We've got to get you some shelter.
Coming to a stop at the base of an obscenely tall but beautiful tree, the creature gestured towards the trunk.
Well, this is it. We're here.
Right, but where is here?
Look, it doesn't matter, okay? What's important is that if you head inside, you should be safe.
Inside the tree?
Mm-hmm. It's not much, but it should suffice as suitable shelter. There might even be some firewood left over inside, if you want to make it extra cozy. Just give me a shout when you've warmed up, and feel ready to return home, and I'll lead you back.
Wait, so you're not coming with me?
Oh, no can do, I'm afraid. You weren't even supposed to see me. I only showed myself because I noticed you were in danger. If someone happened to find us together, we'd both be in big trouble.
Oh.
But...
Nope, no buts. I need you to listen to me. This is my domain, and you'll do as I say.
The sternness in the spirit's voice sent shivers straight up Sapphi's spine, causing her to fall promptly silent.
There's a good little human. Now, you've lost a lot of strength, so you need to eat. You head inside and start warming up while I forage you up some food.
Nodding slowly, Sapphire started to grow concerned. Should she really be taking orders from this strange spirit?
Great! Then we have a plan. Please, stay safe while I'm gone, and don't go wandering around in the woods. There's a foul blight taking hold of this land. I can't protect you if you don't stay hidden, so just sit tight and wait for my return.
The steeliness of the spirit's stare forced Sapphire to nod in compliance once more, and it smiled in acknowledgement before ushering her inside.
Are you sure you can't just stay here with me?
Anxiety rose to the surface as Sapphire stuttered.
As much as I'm enjoying your company, I'm not supposed to be here. Like I said, it would be bad if I were caught here with you. Just because I watch over this land doesn't mean I can control everything in it. What's important is that you should be safe here.
Unable to speak for fear of allowing tears to escape, Sapphire stood still, pleading with her eyes for the creature not to leave her.
I'm sorry, but it's vital that you eat. Rest will help, but you'll never make it home on an empty stomach. Besides, you're my guest. I can hardly allow you to starve. I'll try not to be gone for too long, okay?
Just like that, the creature bowed its head politely before fading into the fog. The very second the spirit was out of sight, Sapphire felt a suffocating sense of dread creep closer. Its arrival had been a timely diversion from her ruinous rumination, but now that it was gone, she felt lost once more, and even worse, lonely.
Well, we do have this, new place to explore, though. So...
Sapphire didn't even mind if she slipped away. So why was the spirit so intent on having her survive? And why did it seem apprehensive? No, afraid of lingering here. Whose home is this? What's the blight that the spirit spoke so briefly of? How was any of this happening? Perhaps it was already too late for her. It was all over the moment she fell asleep in the snow. Everything after that had merely been a hallucination.
if this is a dream, then we should enjoy it to the fullest.
In a desperate attempt to distract herself from dwelling on her demons, Sapphire began to explore the small but humble dwelling she found herself in, Scattered objects lay covered in dust, once loved by someone, now discarded and forgotten, while others were arranged neatly on shelves, displayed with pride. Sapphire couldn't help but compare the room to the wider world outside. People like her were left to decay, too ugly and inconvenient to consider saving when surrounded by so many beautiful and superior beings. She wondered if the abandoned trinkets felt as betrayed as she did. A self-deprecating smirk spread across her lips as she realized how deep her depression ran, infecting every inch of her, eating her up from the inside. Even now, in this fantastical scenario that bore a striking resemblance to some of her youthful dreams, she couldn't find it in herself to hope, anxiety gnawing at her very soul. Overwhelmed and uncertain, Sapphire crawled onto the ledge resembling a bed and curled up into a tight ball, shielding her eyes from her surroundings. If she could just sleep, maybe the spirit would be back by the time she woke up.
Everything is just so overwhelming.
Chapter 3. Goodbye. But morning came, and there was still no sign of the creature. Sapphire stretched, stifling a yawn as she peered outside the small window. It was still snowing. She began to wonder what was real. Had she truly run into a creature out there in the blinding expanse, or was she simply waiting for a figment of her imagination to return and rescue her from herself? If the spirit didn't even exist, then surely there was no point in staying.
Let's wait.
Despite the doubt in her mind, Sapphire decided to stay.
I would love to explore this little place.
Without the strength left to explore, she simply sat waiting for a spirit that never appeared. Sapphire's mouth was dry, her lips cracked, and as her stomach growled in hunger, her eyes settled on a length of rope tucked away in one corner of the room. The second she saw it, Sapphire stood without hesitation, reaching for the rope with both hands. The creature wasn't coming back, she thought. Just like everything else in her life, it had abandoned her. Sapphire refused to face more pain. She wasn't going to die of thirst or starvation. She'd never had control over much, but Sapphire was at least determined to define her death. As she caressed the rope lovingly, feeling the rough texture on the palms of her hands, it occurred to her that whenever she'd previously considered ending her life, she never knew what to write in a note for those she'd leave behind.
The note is always the hardest part.
A grim smile crept across her face when she realized there was simply nothing left to say. Almost in a daze, Sapphire found the perfect spot to secure the rope to the ceiling, and stepping back, she took in her handiwork, hoping she'd managed to tie it tight enough. Carefully moving a small stool to sit beneath the dangling rope, she climbed atop it, gently draping the noose around her neck before fastening it firmly. This was it. No more hurt, no more responsibility, no more anything.
She's so determined.
Sapphire would finally be free.
Maybe in another life, for another me, things might work out differently. But I guess that's just being selfish. Goodbye, world. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to spend more time with you.
But Sapphire didn't truly believe she would get another shot. She just wanted to say something, to stifle the silence before her inevitable suffocation. With one foot hovering above the floor, Sapphire shut her eyes and stepped towards oblivion.
No way. Not in my house, you don't. I'm not about to let you turn your life into a horror story.
Without warning, Sapphire's body suddenly hit the ground. Gasping for breath, Sapphire stared up through blurred vision at the one who snatched suicide away from her.
I'm sorry, but it's not your time. You don't get to decide when you die, friend. That's entirely up to me.
And you are?
What are you talking about?
Well, this is my home, so we play by my rules. And rule number 1 is no self-slaughtering in the damn living room, okay?
Meow.
But since you clearly can't be trusted not to break that, it looks like I'm going to have to take care of you.
What does that mean?
Whatever was going on, Sapphi struggled to rationalize it. She wondered if she'd even managed to mess up her own suicide. Her best guess was that she had succeeded, and this must be the fabled Grim Reaper come to take her away.
Hi, Lulu. Okay, I stretch. Yep. And I hydrate. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I get it now. You're just a hallucination, right? I already died, didn't I?
Sapphi's savior scratched its head, bewildered by her dismissive attitude.
Oh boy. What am I going to do with you?
I can be quite the handful.
I am kind of peckish, actually. Which is weird, because I always imagined ghosts had no appetite.
Rubbing her eyes, Sapphi's stomach growled once more, causing the entity to sigh in exasperation.
Oh, right, that's it. I'm sending you to sleep. We can talk more when you wake up.
And with a swift click of its fingers, the mysterious stranger sent Sapphi straight into a deep and dreamless slumber.
Man, making me go 2 days without food. No wonder I'm depressed.
Chapter 4. Imprisoned. Coming to on a cold stone floor covered in blankets, Sapphi sat up slowly in the dark of the night.
Okay. Let's see. That should be good. Arigato.
Ah, good. You're awake.
Oh, damn, that means we're 3 whole chapters. I wonder if whatever I was saying was even audible. Will this make it to YouTube? I don't know. Hey, if y'all are watching this on YouTube, I hope you're enjoying it.
Sapphi's gaze was immediately drawn to the figure sitting on the other side of her cell. She couldn't quite tell if its tone was one of cheer or relief, perhaps a mixture of both.
Hello.
I can only apologize if you weren't warm enough. I tried my best to make you as comfortable as possible, which, believe me, isn't exactly, easy in a place like this.
I love his design.
Oh, and I, took the liberty of drying your clothes. They were soaking wet. But I didn't have anything spare for you to wear, so blankets had to suffice. Don't worry. I didn't try and sneak a peek or whatever.
Aww, he's blushing! I think I was mostly talking in between, though, so hopefully you'll be okay. Arigato for the reassurance.
Instead of addressing her speaker, Sapphi glanced around her surroundings in a state of panic upon realizing her coat was missing, along with the stuffed toy she always kept close.
Where's Mr. Bear?
Where's Snow? What have you done with him?
Upset at the absence of her most precious companion, the raggedy old bear she dragged everywhere with her, Sapphi stared down the stranger with accusing eyes.
What? This battered old bear?
Sapphi's jailer held out her beloved bear for her to see.
Well, I'll listen back over the audio, and if it's really bad, then
Me.
He's right here with me. Don't worry. I'll take good care of him for you.
The stranger's smile did nothing to reassure Sapphi, who leapt to her feet to face him.
No, give him back!
you give him back this instant.
I'm afraid I can't do that. Not until I know you won't use it to hurt yourself.
How would I do that with a stuffed animal?
You're a monster!
Trust me, I've been called worse. Seriously though, I'm sorry for stealing him away from you, but I swear, it's for your own safety.
Gripping onto the bars, Sapphi growled through gritted teeth as though somehow her anger would grant her the strength to break free and take back her bear.
Hey,
See? I knew you still had fire inside you. So answer me this. Where was that when you tried to hang yourself? Huh?
Ah, damn.
I'm doing awesome.
I'm very much enjoying this game, although I am very much vibing with the main character. Let's stay silent.
Refusing to rise to the question, Sapphire chose to stay silent, turning away from the entity in disgust.
You can ignore me all you want, but you're not going anywhere until I get it out of you. I'll keep you here for eternity, if that's what it takes.
Are you?
The first thought in Sapphire's mind spilled softly from her lips.
It's a little rude to ask a question without answering mine first, don't you think? But if it'll help you see me as the ally I am, rather than the enemy you assume me to be, then I suppose there's no harm in indulging you. I have many names, some more pleasing than others. Since my sole intention right now is keeping you safe, why don't we stick to the one I share with your, fluffy little friend here?
The entity shook Sapphire's stuffed bear before laying it to rest gently on his lap.
You want me to call you Snow?
Fitting, don't you think? Do you have a problem addressing me as such?
Well, no, it's just strange.
Then I'd argue that it suits me perfectly.
Puzzled by Snow's behavior, Sapphire sighed softly to herself. She didn't know what to make of him. He had her behind bars, and yet it appeared as though he had no immediate plans to harm her. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that the stranger had something sinister in store for her.
Arigato.
Don't know if there is an English equivalent, but it's Sarika number 2 me.
Arigato. Meow.
33 months. I've been here for a while.
Meow meow meow.
Where are we? Why am I here?
Why have you brought me here?
Is that really what you want to ask? Or are you hoping to find out why I rescued you?
Both.
Because you're precious. It's as simple as that.
Meow?
Where are we exactly?
Flattery may get you everywhere with me.
Snow took a moment before answering, as though he was considering how much to reveal to Sapphire.
Somewhere safe.
That's not an answer.
I'm afraid it's all you're gonna get. What's important is that no one will find us here, which means we should be able to spend our time together in peace.
That sounds lovely.
Can I leave?
I don't know. Can you?
Clearly not.
Can you quit being so cryptic? You're the one who kidnapped me and put me behind bars.
Technically, yes, but in a roundabout way, you kinda did it to yourself.
I mean, you are the one that tried to hang yourself.
What's that supposed to mean?
I think you already know the answer to that. Silly.
Shooting Snow yet another scowl, Sapphire slumped to the cold ground, exasperated.
Is it so bad being stuck with me?
No.
I guess not. It's not every day someone stuffs you in their basement, and I suppose it just about beats being dead.
This isn't my basement, but I'm glad you don't seem to find this whole scenario too unsettling. I promise, I was as gentle as possible in bringing you here. I mean it when I say, I just want what's best for you. Please, eat something. It's unlikely to be the most delicious of snacks you've ever had, but I tried my best to make it edible, at least.
Gesturing to the plate beside Sapphi, Snow pulled a feigned smile.
Nom nom nom.
Without saying another word, Sapphi tucked into the food Snow had prepared for her. It wasn't much to look at, but somehow the taste was both salty and sweet. She didn't want to admit it, but it was one of the best things she'd eaten in forever. Attempting to hide her face from Snow as she hungrily scoffed the rest of the snacks, Sapphi retreated into the darkest corner of her cage like an animal starved.
ASMR together with a burp at the end.
So slow down. I wouldn't want you to choke.
Covered in crumbs, Sapphi wiped her mouth and leaned back against the wall, a sudden sleepiness starting to take hold of her.
That's it. You just rest now. I'll watch over you.
Chapter 5. Interrogation.
Meow meow.
Wakey, wakey. Rise and shine, little Sapphire. You can't sleep all day. We have work to do.
Huh?
Awakening with a startle, Sapphire sat up straight to find herself face to face with her captor, his ashen skin pressed against the bars of her cage. Something compelled her to reach out, but just before her fingers could graze his cheek, Snow retreated to the shadows of the dungeon.
Meow.
It was only then that an alarming thought occurred to Sapphi.
Did you drug my food?
Well, now that's no way to greet the one taking care of you, is it? A simple good morning would have been nice.
Did you?
Sapphi refused to back down, asking more sternly a second time.
Does it really matter? You slept through the night without so much as a peep. So just be thankful for that.
That's kind of sounding like a roundabout yes.
So then you're admitting you drugged me.
You're the one accusing me. I'm not admitting anything. All I did was help. That's all I want.
You keep saying that, but how am I ever supposed to believe you when you've got me behind bars?
I just want to keep you safe.
Can't you see? You're not protecting me. You're imprisoning me. Keeping me locked away isn't gonna make my life any better.
I told you. I'm not letting you out of there until you tell me why you tried to kill yourself.
I don't know why.
Oh, don't lie to me!
A burst of freezing cold air spread throughout the room in an instant, leaving behind a heavy fog. Sapphi shivered, and as the fog dissipated, she gasped at Snow in surprise upon seeing the horns now adorning his head.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shout at you. It's just... Well, you're infuriating. Why won't you just admit how you feel and tell me why you did it?
'Cause I honestly don't know.
It's like a feeling you haven't articulated into words yet. It's just an abstract thought that you're not sure how to convey.
Yes, you do. First I find you freezing to death in the snow. Then you come into my home and try to hang yourself. You must have a reason.
As Sapphi studied her captor intensely, the pieces began to fall into place.
Wait, so then that creature? That was you?
Wait, you're the dragon?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to need you to calm down.
Then that means you brought me here on purpose.
I knew it.
Well, yeah, but it's not like I had anything nefarious in mind. I just didn't want to watch you die out there in the cold, when I knew there was a perfectly cozy hideaway nearby, is all.
But still, you deceived me. Why didn't you just say it was your home, huh? I should have known with your devil horns and all.
The devil horns? Now hang on a second.
Are you some sort of sick pervert who gets off on preying on vulnerable people? Because if so, you might as well go ahead and kill me.
But please, you don't understand.
I came out here to die anyway. Is that what you want to hear? So, by all means, let's skip to that part and get it over with.
What? I'm not gonna kill you. I saved you, remember? Twice now, actually.
Yeah, well, maybe I don't want to be saved.
Which brings me back to my original point. Why did you want to die?
Why do you want me to live so badly? My life is none of your business.
See, now that's where you're wrong, Sapphy.
How do you know my name? I never told you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have asked. Do you prefer Sapphire instead?
No, Sappy's fine. But that's not what I asked you.
Oh, why do you insist on asking so many questions? I'm new to this, okay? I've been out here a long time, but you're the first one I've come across who actually needs my help. So please, for both our sakes, just let me help you.
Fine. I can't see how anything you do will make a difference, but I believe you.
Thank you, Sapphy. You have no idea how much that means to me. However it may seem, I really do care about you.
You get a strange way of showing it.
I know I'm not very good at this, but I'm trying my best. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I also never imagined I'd meet someone so difficult.
What's that supposed to mean?
Snow slowly crept closer to the bars before clinging onto them tightly as though in pain.
Oh, it's you! You're just... I don't even have the words. I always thought when I finally had the opportunity to rescue someone, they'd be grateful. I know I would have been. But with you, it's like your soul's screaming at me. For the first time in forever, I feel as though I actually want something. Oh, you're so stubborn. It shouldn't be this hard to save someone.
Oh dear. You can't just randomly go up to someone who's suicidal and expect to just magically make everything okay. It doesn't work that way.
Sorry, Nate.
Oh, shush! Just stop. I shouldn't even be speaking to you like this. I'm not supposed to get so involved.
Snow.
I said, shut up, please. Just be silent and sleep.
I don't like him anymore.
Wait.
With a swift click of his fingers, Snow sent Sapphy spiraling straight back to sleep.
I meant to be the one saving you, not the other way round. How can I possibly heal you if I never want to let you go?
I don't like this anymore.
This time, when Sapphy came to, her prison was bathed in the warming glow of afternoon sun. Had the snow finally stopped? Sapphy had no way of knowing. She turned to see her captor keeping his ever-constant vigil over her.
Your horns. They're gone.
Unlike before, instead of answering, Snow gazed past her, a vacant expression on his face.
I thought I'd look less frightening like this.
I like them. Meow? Why do I have a random loading screen?
Chapter 5, Branch A, Thaw.
Oh! Okay.
I actually thought they were pretty cool. They suit you. You shouldn't hide what you are.
Says the one who ran away for that very reason. You're a real hypocrite, Sapphy. You know that?
She wasn't sure how to respond, so she shrugged instead, wearing a self-deprecating smile. People didn't usually point out social faux pas so flippantly.
Do you really mean it? You don't hate my horns?
Not at all. I actually very much want to touch them.
Rubbing the spot on his head where the appendages had been, Snow blushed a little, and Sapphi's smile transformed into something far more sincere as she nodded.
You're so cruel, little Sapphire.
Snow knew he shouldn't say another word, but he couldn't help himself.
Says the one who keeps me locked up.
Why? It was supposed to be a compliment.
I took your choice away from you. I don't deserve your kindness.
As if by magic, Snow's horns reappeared as he slinked closer to Sapphi, slinging his coat to one side before sitting down on the stone floor in front of her, instead of skulking in the shadows.
Why is your wrist bandaged?
It was then that Sapphi noticed the bandages wrapped around his arm.
Are you injured?
Oh, these? No, at least not now. I wear them to cover up my old scars. It's just easier if I don't have to look at them. You know? They remind me of who I was a long, long time ago. But that part of me's gone now. For better or for worse.
Sapphi wanted to ask him about who he used to be, but she didn't want to seem rude. Several minutes passed in awkward silence. Snow could sense her curiosity, and despite his cautious nature, decided to indulge her.
You know, I wasn't always like this. I was like you once. I came here to hide just as you did, but the world wouldn't let me go. I felt as though I had nothing left to live for. I just wanted it all to end somewhere peaceful. Somewhere I could see the sky and feel the snow on my skin.
I feel that.
I'd always loved winter here. There's something special about the way the snowflakes fall so silently. The crisp crunch beneath your feet as you wander into the white.
The winter wonderland is so beautiful.
Freshly fallen snow is like starting a painting. A blank canvas, full of possibilities. Every step you take, every imprint you leave, you know it won't last forever. But in the moment, it makes you feel like you actually exist. It's proof that you're alive, even if you've lost the ability to feel it.
I especially love how the snow sparkles in the sunlight.
I was so numb. But seeing the snow still made me smile. It's funny how feeling so hollow can hurt most of all. I would have given anything to feel something other than empty. So I took out my knife and used it to slit my wrists, while the smile was still on my face. It's not like I hadn't done it a million times before, whenever my emotions were too much to contain, or when they'd abandoned me entirely. I didn't know what else to do, so I cut myself. As stupid as it may sound, it brought me some relief. But then I imagine you already know that. I don't know why, but part of me thought if I could smile up at the sky, maybe it wouldn't hurt quite so much. And that's when I met the Great Blizzard.
Enraptured, Sapphi inched closer to the bars, both horrified by Snow's words but eager to hear him reveal more.
She stopped me from slipping away by freezing all the blood in my body, but it wasn't enough to save me. So she even took my heart, turned it to ice. Now I'm cursed to feel the cold forever.
That's insane. It sounds like something straight out of a fairy tale. Well, a pretty grim one, but still.
I know, right? But it's true. I have these horns because of her. She said suicide wasn't the answer, that she'd made it her mission to save souls like mine. Because without us, the world would never change. If all of us lose hope and disappear, then there'll be no one left to fight the Blight. Humans almost hunted creatures like her to extinction, the same way they tried to push people like you out of society. We're an inconvenience to them. They don't care about myth and magic. They only want industry and innovation. Imagination is the enemy of that. It can't be bought or manufactured. It lives in souls like yours, Sapphire. But being born with that sort of spark comes with a price. She said she'd make me strong by stifling my feelings so I could help her in her fight against the Blight. But, perhaps that's a tale for another time.
Shrugging off his story, Snow stood once again, leaving Sapphire more than a little astounded.
Hang on. You can't start talking about mighty blizzards and battling blights and then just leave it at that.
Can I become an ice spirit like you?
Oh, but I can, little Sapphire. Believe me, it's much better if I stop before the bloodier parts. Besides, I've already told you far more than I should. Saving lost souls might sound like noble work, but the Blight is bigger than you could possibly imagine. The Blizzard is still out there somewhere, but she's not as strong as she used to be. She thinks we can still help by staying here and saving who we can, while keeping the Blight at bay.
But you disagree?
And I'm guessing you disagree with her?
It's not that I think she's wrong. Heck, she's wiser than me. But the Blight won't end unless we go out and face it head on. And I hate being trapped here all by myself. The Blizzard, she did what she did, and then she just left. Sure, she taught me how to fight, how to help, but it's not enough. You're the first person I've encountered in eons who came here to kill themselves instead of me. I'm sick of being hunted for who I am. Before I met her, people saw me as a freak. She made sure that's all I'll ever be.
His anger and passion towards Sapphire is making more sense now.
She thinks she can just fix us by freezing our hearts, but she's got it all backwards. It's the world that's broken, not us.
So...
Stealing my feelings was wrong. Blocking out pain doesn't make things better. It just hurts even more when you finally start to feel again.
Yeah, it does.
Snow, I'm so sorry for everything that's happened to you. I know that doesn't really mean much, but...
I don't want your pity any more than you want mine.
Suddenly slamming his head into the bars, Snow's face contorted with a desperate rage, but Sapphire stood her ground.
Don't you dare fucking look at me like that!
Still, Sapphire stared at him, sorrow in her eyes. She wasn't especially scared. In fact, she wasn't entirely sure how she felt, but it hurt.
I said, stop it!
A blast of cool air froze the hairs standing to attention on Sapphire's skin.
Okay, I don't know what the save function is. Cause I want to kiss him. You know, we're just gonna do one playthrough. Let's see what happens with other choices I make.
She wasn't sure what possessed her to act, but an overwhelming urge filled Sapphire from head to toe, and she grabbed onto Snow's face, kissing him passionately through the bars of her cage. At first, Snow refused to reciprocate, eyes wide in a mixture of shock and fear, but the longer Sapphire held him there, the more Snow realized how much he wanted to kiss her back. Despite the constant chill in the air, Sapphire still exuded a warmth that Snow had sorely missed. He longed so desperately for his frozen heart to thaw that he feared he would lose himself in Sapphire's kindling embrace. When the pair of them eventually separated, Snow glared at Sapphire, a grave expression on his face.
If you think I'll let you go after one little kiss, you're sorely mistaken, Sapphire.
The way he speaks in one ear, it almost gets to me.
I get it, Snow. You're lonely, and that's okay. You have me now. I'll stay here with you if it helps.
You don't get anything. You have no idea what I've endured. Besides, you shouldn't say things you don't mean. It could get you into trouble. You don't owe me kindness, and you're not leaving until you give me an answer to my original question. So why don't you think about that for a while? I have important work to do.
Wait! What if I told you I love you? Would that change anything?
How could you possibly love me when you can't even love yourself, Sappy?
I feel like I should have slapped him.
Instead of sending her to sleep like usual, Snow simply left. Unsure what else to do, Sappy slumped to the ground, resting her head on her knees. She started to wonder if she would ever escape from the prison Snow had put her in.
I can't
He longed so desperately for his frozen heart to thaw that he feared he would lose himself in Sapphi's kindling embrace.
Damn it, that was
Instead of sending her to sleep like usual, unsure what else to do, Sapphy slumped to the ground. Chapter 6, Branch A, Confrontation. Days passed, followed by weeks, then months, and in all that time, Snow and Sapphy never spoke. Snow would bring Sapphy food while she slept, and she would eat, forcing herself to stay awake for as long as she could in the hope of seeing him again. But he always waited for her to drift off before approaching, avoiding her purposefully. Snow hadn't meant to keep her captive for such an extended period. He didn't know what else to do. Being in her presence was painful. It reminded him of how he used to be. He knew deep down he had feelings for her, and so he refused to let her go. How could he? Without Sapphy, he'd go back to the bleak existence of battling the blight alone. He came to this place hoping to be free, and instead wound up trapped here. Even if they no longer exchanged words, when he returned wounded and weary, he could at least gaze upon her sleeping form and feel something other than excruciating numbness. But her seemingly endless incarceration was not without aim. Snow had been working diligently with Sapphy, oblivious to his plan. Almost every spare second he had went into sewing her bear back together, as though fixing it would somehow repair Sapphy's broken soul, and perhaps even his own. Snow knew this was nothing more than a fantasy, but he still believed the bear was the key to freeing them both, and even if he was wrong, he was determined to force that fate upon her for his own sanity. It was a frosty midwinter morning when Snow finally decided to show himself to Sapphy for the first time in forever.
You're here.
Sapphy gasped in surprise at the sight of him, questioning the validity of her vision.
So, have you had enough time to think of an answer?
Dispensing with pleasantries, Snow questioned her. Standing to face him with a serious expression, Sapphy gripped her hoodie tightly, filled with resolve.
I have.
And?
I didn't want to die at all. I just wanted to connect. Being shunned over and over again just for being myself hurt so much that I felt like I had to hide. I wanted to be free, to express myself without worrying where the next batch of abuse was going to come from. To reach out and truly be understood. I was sick of living my life in a cage created from fear. So I tried to find another way out. At first, I believed you when you said you were trying to protect me. But now, I'm not so sure. Keeping me locked away isn't going to make my life any better. I already retreated from the world when it rejected me, just as you did. And where has that gotten either of us? We're both miserable and alone.
But we don't have to be. We can help each other. I've come to set us both free.
There was a glint of something impish in Snow's eyes that unsettled Sapphi.
What do you mean?
Am I gonna be ice spirit?
I can't keep doing this, and you can't survive out there on your own. So I figured out a way to end our suffering.
Revealing a knife from behind his back, Snow smiled softly at Sapphi, sending shivers down her spine.
I'm already this far up. Resist.
I don't want any more of your help.
You don't mean that.
Listen, you gave me a second chance at life, and I'm grateful for that. I really am. But please, let me at least try and make the most of it.
Trust me.
Trust is earned. You put me here and then left, just like the blizzard left you. Can't you see you're just repeating the same cycle all over again?
I'm nothing like her. I'm doing this because I genuinely care about you, Sapphi. And I promise you, I will never, ever leave you alone again.
If that's true, you'd give me back my bear and let me out of here.
Okay. If that's what you really want, then your wish is my command.
Producing her bear almost from thin air, Snow approached Sapphi's prison with purpose.
Just know that I'm not taking my eyes off you for a second.
When Snow strode forward, bursting through the cage's door, Sapphi realized it was open all along.
Are you serious? All this time, she never thought...
She could have run away any time, but she was so used to accepting she was stuck that it hadn't even occurred to her to try the handle.
That's fair.
Without so much as wincing, Snow sliced open his hand with the knife, before carefully smearing a small amount of his blood into the eyes of her bear.
Excuse me, what kind of blood magic is happening here?
We go together, wherever we are, and whatever the world has in store for us. I'll be right here, by your side.
Wearing a slightly abashed look on his face, Snow thrust the stuffed toy into Sapphi's chest. Stunned, Sapphi struggled to speak as she stared in disbelief at her bear, then up at Snow.
What? Did you think I was gonna stab you or something? Or maybe slash both our throats in some kinda gory double suicides?
Kinda, yeah.
You came at me with a knife. What was I supposed to think?
Well, I'm sorry if I scared you. I guess I should have dialed down the dramatics a touch. Huh?
I like him again.
Oh, come on, don't pull that face. I already warned you once. Are you honestly gonna make me repeat myself?
Yes.
Warn me about what?
I said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm not gonna let your life become a horror story, Sapphi. I still mean that.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
Then maybe you should try being more straightforward instead of expecting me to decipher all your cryptic clues.
Please and thank you.
Fair enough. I infused your bear with my blood, so I can watch over you.
What did you do that for?
Look, I know you said you don't want my help, but if you're going back home, I'll only worry about you. I won't allow you to fall prey to the same debilitating despair that cost me my mortal life. So please, let me protect you, as well as this place. I promise, I won't peek at you without your permission. If you're ever in need of my power, just ask, and it will allow me to act through Snow here, as an avatar.
The sincerity in Snow's smile was enough for Sapphi to know his words were without sinister intentions, and so she took back her bear.
I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything, Sapphi. I just want you to be safe.
Unable to find the right words to convey how she felt, Sapphire simply threw her arms around Snow, hugging him tightly.
Mew?
I couldn't bring myself to say goodbye, and Snow didn't stop me as we separated. Our parting was wordless, so I suppose he felt the same. Somehow, I knew how to navigate the snow-covered woods, where before I would get lost in any unfamiliar surroundings. And so, I made my way home, holding my bear tightly every step of the way.
I really want to replay this and smack him. I'm not ending stream.
It wasn't
until I do
foolish.
that.
I knew it would take immense bravery to attempt to start over after everything that had happened. But when I sat down on my bed with my bear by my side, I knew that I at least wouldn't have to do it alone.
Ending 6. Together forever.
How is that titled Together Forever? I guess that's soothing.
Meow.
I'm so sorry, I do not mean to skip the credits, but I just... Let me go back and smack him. I want to see what... Where is the true ending? Where is the romantic ending? Like, I had a feeling smacking him would have been, like, the right answer.
Before we begin, please select the sort of voice you find more soothing.
I'm sorry, but it's not your time. You don't get to decide when you die, friend.
But, I mean...
That's entirely
It could also be
up
that,
to me.
like, all the other choices I made were wrong. When did it become nighttime?
Chapter 1. Lost.
When did it become 8 p.m.?
In a distant universe not too dissimilar from our own, a young woman walked alone in a world of white.
Excuse me. You can't sleep there. You'll freeze.
Okay, I wanna
Kinda
stick with,
crazy,
like, all
but
the answers I did before.
are an elemental? So then you're like a snow spirit? So where is it you're taking me exactly? There's nothing out here but more snow.
Skipping the F. Right. Okay. Actually, what happens if I try to leave?
Shaking away the image of the spirit still in her mind, Sapphire decided it was best to leave this peculiar place and head back out into the... But it wasn't long before she was discovered by a different entity entirely.
Huh, so that's where you were hiding. Pretty smart, but not smart enough.
Meow. Did I just die?
Blindsided by a blow to the head, Sapphire's body was flung across the ice-covered ground, landing with a nasty...
You will suffer for your sins, human!
A fearsome roar shook Sapphire's very bones as she lay stunned in...
Ha! My sins. And what about all the innocent lives you've taken, beast? Your very
Followed by an anguished cry.
Innocent! You, who discriminate and destroy every being different to yourselves. Your collective intolerance and ignorance have claimed more lives than I ever will. My endeavors are a mere drop in the ocean compared to all the blood your kind have spilled.
Their lives are an acceptable loss for the greater good of us all.
I love how everybody has a different font.
And that attitude is precisely why you will pay the same price as those who came before you.
Oh, wait, you can't do this.
First, we're choosing different paths. This rose to the moon has led to the
The
mind.
woman Sapphire still hadn't seen unleashed a blood-curdling scream, accompanied by the gruesome sound of flesh and bone being torn asunder.
Yeah.
Something warm and sticky sprayed Sapphire's face, causing her vision to blur a violent shade of crimson. For the first time in forever, Sapphire feared for her life. Finding the last of her strength, she hauled herself to her feet, sprinting through the snow. Blinded by the blood of the slaughtered stranger, Sapphire could barely see a thing,
Meow.
but she knew she couldn't afford to slow down.
Stop!
A booming command followed behind her as a great lumbering beast stalked each of her desperate strides. Not knowing why, Sapphire stopped on the spot, but refused to turn and face the blood-soaked creature.
There is no need to be afraid.
The beast came closer, so close that Sapphire could smell the coppery tang of its victim choking the very air around it.
I saw what you did. You're a monster.
Snapping out of her trance, Sapphire ran once again, faster this time, far too nimble for the beast to keep pace with her.
I said stop!
It called out once more with urgency, but its warning reached Sapphire too late. In the blizzard, she didn't notice the lake ahead of her, running right into its icy embrace. Floundering in the freezing water, Sapphire sank beneath the surface. As her heart rate soared, Sapphire gasped, inhaling an ocean, her entire body shutting down from the shock.
Does this flight know no bounds?
Ending 1, buried beneath. Or it would have been, but that's not exactly what happened, because Sapphire didn't leave after all. Sapphire chose to stay and wait a while longer for the creature's return.
I love how it just circles back around.
Without the strength left to explore, she simply sat waiting for a spirit that never appeared.
Okay, what if I say fuck you?
Go fuck yourself. You know nothing about me.
Spitting her words in anger at the entity, Sapphire turned her back on him, seething.
And there it is again. Still burning bright. You're wrong, by the way. I know more about you than I care to admit.
Are you? Where are we exactly?
Snow took a moment before answering, as though he was considering.
Somewhere safe.
That's not an
because
answer.
I'm afraid it's all you're gonna get.
Darn it.
What's important?
Why have you brought me here?
Because I did
Is that
different.
really what you want?
Both.
Wait.
It's as simple as that.
Can I leave?
There we go. Darn it. What do I say here? Okay, I want to stick with no.
I guess not.
Please, eat something. It's unlikely to be the most delicious of snacks you've ever had, but
Chapter 5. Interrogation.
wakey, wakey. Rise and shine, little Sapphire. You can't sleep all day. We have work to do.
Fine. I can't see how anything you do will make a difference, but I believe you.
However it may seem, I really do care about you.
This is different.
You got a strange way of showing it.
I know I'm not very good at this, but I'm trying my best. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I also never imagined I'd meet someone so difficult.
Chapter 5, Branch A, Thaw.
I actually thought they were pretty cool.
Do you disagree?
And I'm guessing you disagree.
Sure, she taught me how to fight, how to help, but it's not enough.
Slap.
You're the first person I've encountered in...
She wasn't sure what possessed her to act, but an overwhelming urge filled Sapphire from head to toe, and she slapped Snow's face hard through the bars of her cage.
That's more like it.
What is wrong with you?
Sapphire screamed at Snow as he rubbed his cheek with a feigned grin.
I don't have to listen to you. You're the one who came here to kill yourself, Sapphire. So why don't you think about that for a while? I have work to do.
What kind of work?
Instead of sending her to sleep like usual, Snow simply left.
Okay, and then let him come.
Whether it was by sense or something else entirely, somehow Sapphire knew she needn't be scared of him. When Snow strode forward, he tentatively pushed open the door. It was only then that Sapphire noticed it had been unlocked. She was never his prisoner. She'd stayed because she'd assumed she had no choice, so used to being helpless that it didn't even occur to her to try the handle. The realization that she'd essentially caged herself here, just as she had at home, hit her like a ton of bricks. And at the same time, Snow flung his arms around her, holding her tightly.
I know how it feels to have emotions so strong you can scarcely contain them. It is both a curse and a gift. But believe me when I say this, you're not broken, no matter how much you may think that. So don't you ever let anyone try to fix you.
In an attempt to spare Sapphire from the sight, Snow swiftly cut into his own hand with the knife behind her back, smearing some of his blood into the eyes of her beloved bear before squeezing her even tighter.
Your brain is wired differently. You can't change that. You can try as hard as you like, but you are who you are. Whether or not the people around you are able to accept that is their problem, not yours. I know it's scary, but if you close yourself off to the world because of them, you'll never experience anything.
Comforted by his embrace, Sapphire hugged him back, holding on as though her life depended on it.
You deserve to be happy.
Neither of the pair wanted to be the first to break their connection, but it was Snow who reluctantly backed away first, holding out her bear with a grin of satisfaction on his lips.
You repaired him!
Sapphire noticed Snow's handiwork almost immediately, jumping up and down on the spot in excitement.
I wanted him to be whole again. I couldn't possibly let you leave with him the way he was, when I know how important he is to you.
It's incredible. He looks brand new.
And I even added a little extra magic, just for you.
I do want to note though that it is so important to find people who you resonate with and who accept you for who you are. Sometimes it can take forever to find them, but when you do and you just naturally click, it's like you finally found your place in this world.
Huh?
If you're ever in need of a friend, someone to talk to, just give Snow here a squeeze, and it will just be like I'm in the room with you.
Really?
Sapphire gasped, unsure whether to be impressed or alarmed.
Yep. I put a small part of me inside him, so I can watch over you. Wherever you go, I'll always be by your side, and if anyone ever tries to hurt you, I'll ensure they won't make the same mistake twice.
You're not gonna hurt anyone, right?
I'm afraid I can't make any promises there.
Snow!
Okay, I'm only kidding. Seriously though, it's my job to protect you. You're special, Sapphire. I need you to know that. I didn't save you so you could go back to your old life and rot away.
I don't want to leave.
Who said anything about going back?
I thought that's what you wanted.
No, silly. I want to stay here with you.
You do?
Yes.
Of course. Whatever this blight is, I'm not gonna let you face it on your own. We're in this together from now on.
Clutching her reborn bear resolutely, Sapphire resembled a much younger version of herself, her shattered faith restored.
Are you sure? This life isn't an easy one, Sapphire.
I'm sure. I don't care if it's difficult, as long as I get to stay with you. At least that's a life worth living.
Stunned to silence by her sincerity, Snow felt his heart thaw a little more.
But I'm a beast, Sapphire. I'm scared that once you see what I've become, you'll want to leave.
Then why don't you show me now? And I'll prove to you that you've got absolutely nothing to be afraid of.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
You say that now, but you haven't seen me with blood on my claws and flesh in my teeth. The Blizzard's gift, it turned me into a monster.
I don't care. I like you for you. So what if you get a little bloody battling the blight? You stopped me from throwing my life away and mended my bear. The snow I know gave me hope when I had none. Do you honestly think I'd abandon you after that? I'm not going anywhere, and there's nothing you could do to frighten me away. I just want you to be yourself.
Releasing a sigh of defeat, Snow bowed his head in acceptance. How could he possibly deny her wish?
Meow?
As he took a step back, gentle winds surrounded Snow, encasing him in an icy glow. Before bursting to reveal a magnificent creature, unlike anything Sapphire had seen before.
Dragon. Fluffy dragon! Oh my goodness, I wouldn't put the tails.
She didn't need words to say how she felt, and so she set down her bear to hold Snow's head in both hands, rubbing his muzzle affectionately as she buried her face in his comforting fur. Snow allowed her to stay there for a few minutes, growling softly with approval, before suddenly flipping her up onto his back.
Meow?
With a flick of his heels, Snow galloped out into the glistening white world, Sapphire atop him. And the pair of them disappeared beyond the blizzard.
I knew a storm was coming, but for now, just for a little while, I would allow myself to stop worrying about the world and concentrate on what mattered most. Enjoying the precious time Snow stole back from fate for me. Whatever trials the blight may bring, we'll face them head on, together.
Ending 7. Beyond the Blizzard.
Oh, I love it. I guess I love that ending. I'm curious though, like, what happens if you say you don't like his horns? Wait, was that here or was that the other one? Oh, okay. Like, I understand probably will give me the other ending again.
I guess not.
Wait,
It's not every day someone stuffs you in their basement, and I suppose it just about beats being dead.
wait,
Please, eat something.
Gesturing to the plate
Wow.
beside Sapphire, Snow pulled a feigned smile. Without a word, Sapphire pushed the plate.
Maybe you shouldn't have saved me in the...
Sapphire grumbled, refuting.
Look, do you honestly want me to come in there and force it down your throat?
Sapphire sensed that Snow's question was rhetorical and begrudgingly dragged the plate towards her.
I'm not your enemy. The sooner you learn to trust me, the sooner we can both leave this place.
It didn't take more than a few mouthfuls before Sapphire began to feel the weight of her eyelids pulling down. A moment more, and she was passed out on the stone floor. Chapter 5. Interrogation.
Wakey, wakey. Rise and shine, little Sapphire. You can't sleep all day. We have work to do.
Fine, whatever. Do what you want with me. I don't care anymore.
Sapphire, please. Don't be like that. However it may seem.
You get a strange way of showing it.
I know I'm not very good at this, but I'm trying my best. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I also never imagined I'd meet...
Chapter 5, Branch B. Freeze.
freeze.
You're right about that. Though sending me to sleep every time you're feeling overwhelmed is a lot scarier.
So you think you got me all figured out, do you?
She wasn't sure how to respond, so she shrugged instead,
Would it make this easier for you if I showed you my true nature? Let you paint me as the beast?
Rubbing the Snow's expression gradually became more twisted as his eyes clouded over.
You're so cruel, little Sapphire.
Snow knew he shouldn't say another word, but he couldn't help himself.
I don't blame you. It's so much easier to hate, isn't it? Hate makes it all hurt a little. But if that's what you need, Sappy, if that's what will save you, then I'll be your monster.
Walking with purpose towards the cage, Snow flung open the door, marching towards Sappy with intent.
Oh. Okay. What if I ran?
Without hesitation, Sappy sprinted for the open door, half expecting her path to be blocked by the beast, but frantically Sappy searched the room for her beloved bear, while
Looking for this?
he knew she'd never leave without it. A sinister smirk spread across Snow's lips as he dangled the bear in the air above Sappy's head.
How badly do you want it?
Snow taunted her, taking hold of each of the bear's arms as he stretched the toy in front of her, stuffing bursting from its seams.
Stop it!
Stop!
Sappy screamed at him, but it was no use. Snow tore the bear in two right before her eyes, snarling.
You're next, Sappy. I suggest you run while you still can, if you want to live. Run!
Damn, I love that growl.
Swallowing her sadness at the loss of her cherished companion, Sappy turned on her heels and did just that. She ran and ran, through the howling wind and sterile snow. Leaving behind a beast who clutched her bear in both hands.
You'll be back someday, Sappy. I know it.
I don't like the
And when
sad
you return,
ending.
I promise.
Had I known back then that his violence was all an elaborate ruse to save, maybe I left him there. A part of me, well, I made my choice for both of us.
Ending to Tears of Ice.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. What if I fought?
With fire in her heart, Sappy summoned the strength to fight, throwing a fearsome punch at her attacker's face, only to find her arm entangled in his icy claws.
Seriously? You think you can harm me with your puny mortal punches? You're weak, little Sapphire. Weak and pathetic. But I can make you stronger. What doesn't kill you, right?
Sappy struggled in his grasp, growing increasingly panicked as she noticed the shining crystals creeping up her arm, gradually encasing her.
You don't need to worry about anything anymore. I promise. This will be entirely painless.
Within mere seconds of making contact with her skin, Sappy's body was surrounded by...
You made me do this to you, Sappy.
No.
When I'm finished with you, you'll be dying to live.
It would take time to engineer her transformation, but he was willing to spend eternity if that's what was required.
What's this pretty ice flower girl with the hydrangeas? Oh my goodness, I love it!
And so Snow kept Sapphy glacial, a prized sculpture, amongst the frozen petals of a secret garden, sheltered from the sorrows of the world. He was determined not to let her feelings leave her undefined, to rid her of the plight of self-affliction.
So pretty. I don't like this ending
I
either.
suppose a stronger person might have protested, but I've always been weak. Besides, I'd let others shape me all my life. At least Snow understood me on some level. If he could truly change me with his chilling hands, I would welcome the opportunity to emerge reborn, cleansed of everything about myself that I despised. Maybe metamorphosis was always the answer. I couldn't cope in the vessel I was born with.
I don't
Ending
know.
through dying to live.
Nope. Okay, what's the last bad ending?
She could have run from him or tried to fight, but instead Sapphire chose to stand completely still, showing no fear. Unrelenting, Snow forced her back to the wall, pinning her against it with his sheer stature. As he towered over Sapphire, she refused to look away, staring straight into his eyes.
Tell me one thing, little Sapphire. Do you honestly want to die?
Okay, let's see. No.
Of course I don't. Does anyone really want to die? I dream of death out of desperation because living is too fucking painful. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
Just be somewhere, like, in the middle of purgatory.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Sapphire. I wish I could heal that hurt, but I'm not strong enough. Souls like yours will always suffer while the world is the way it is. I've spent a lifetime trying my best to save those who find themselves lost in her blizzard. But it's not enough. Passively protecting those in danger isn't going to shift the state of things. I see that now. If I'm going to make a real difference, I need to leave this place. If I'm going to change the world, I'll need to spill much more blood. The blight won't end unless I face it head on. No more hiding out here in the wilderness. I won't have your life restricted to the shadows like mine. You deserve to taste the sun on your skin.
Sighing heavily, Snow moved to cradle Sapphire in his cold arms, his lips grazing her forehead.
Allow me to at least do this for you.
Sapphire shivered at his touch and nodded silently, giving him permission to proceed.
I'm going to send you to sleep. When you wake, this world will be a better place for both of us. I'll make sure of it.
Snow traced his finger along Sapphire's cheek before wrapping her up in his freezing embrace, forcing her into a dreamless sleep.
I'll see you on the other side, Sapphire. When the world is reborn in blood, I'll carve out a place for you, no matter the cost. All you have to do is wait for me.
And so, wait is exactly what I did. It was all I could do.
Oh.
When I eventually awoke, I barely recognized the reality that greeted me. I never asked anyone to make allowances for me, let alone go out of their way to adapt. I didn't feel as though I deserved the effort. I definitely didn't deserve this. When I realized the extent of Snow's devotion, I wasn't sure whether I should feel flattered or furious.
Did her eyes turn from blue to purple?
I suppose it didn't really matter. The truth, though, is that I was petrified. He tried to shield me from the sight, but I knew the blood-stained snow and stacks of bodies marked the borders of his icy palace, while the interior remained pristine.
This is so random.
What little remained was entirely his, including me. I had traded one prison for another, a lonely queen on a tainted throne at the end of the world.
Damn it, I don't like this ending either. Okay, yeah.
Ending 5, Permafrost Princess.
Interesting. So, how do you get the good ending? Like, how do you get the true ending where everything is lovey-dovey and everything is good? gonna try one more time and then I'll call it here. Maybe look up a guide. And hey, if you want to try the game
Before
for yourself,
we begin, please select the sort of voice you find more suitable.
I'm sorry, but
itch.io.
it's not your time. You don't get to decide when you die, friend. That's entirely up to me.
The game is on itch.io and you can download for free. If you can support Melancholic Marionette, then that'd be amazing.
Chapter 1, Lost.
All of their games are just amazing. I love this dev so much.
In a distant universe not too dissimilar from our own, a young woman walked alone in a world of white.
Excuse me. You can't sleep there.
Okay,
You'll
so
freeze.
what if I say, what are you?
Hey there, little one. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you down there. Forgive me if this sounds a bit rude, but what are you exactly? You don't look like any animal I've ever seen.
That's because I'm not an animal. I'm an elemental. And by the way, I'm not little. I prefer stealthy. Creatures like me wouldn't stand a chance at survival if we sauntered around all hideous and huge.
An elemental? So then you're like a snow spirit? So where is it you're taking me exactly? There's nothing out here but more snow.
Okay, I think this one.
Who are you?
The first thought in Sapphi's mind spilled so
It's a little rude to ask a question without answering mine first. Don't you think?
Okay. What if...
Giving me the silent treatment won't make any difference. However you might feel, I'm not going anywhere. Please, eat something. It's unlikely to be the most delicious of snacks you've ever had, but I tried my best to make it edible, at least.
Okay, this load. What if I say yes? Come on.
Actually, yeah, it is. I would demand you let me go right away, but I know you won't, so I won't waste my breath.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I thought you might understand. It's a shame, really. The last thing I want is for you to endure even more suffering. Please, eat something.
Gesturing to the plate beside Sapphi, Snow pulled a feigned smile.
Let's see.
Chapter 5, Interrogation.
However it may seem, I really do care about you.
Okay, so that's
You
different.
got a strange way of showing it.
And then I like them.
Chapter 5, Branch A, Thaw.
I actually thought they were pretty cool. They suit you.
Save.
You shouldn't hide what you are.
What if I say she sounds incredible?
It's a lot of responsibility. This blizzard sounds like a great being.
Snow hesitated before opening his mouth to respond, as though carefully considering his next words.
She certainly is. I owe her everything. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with her approach. Sure, she taught me how to fight, how to help, but it's not enough. You're the first person I've encountered in eons who came here to kill themselves.
Instead of sending her to sleep like usual, Snow simply left. Unsure what else to do, Sapphi slumped to the ground, resting her head on her knees. She started to wonder if she would ever escape from the prison Snow had put her in.
I say I understand.
I know. And I swear, if I'm ever feeling overwhelmed or alone...
The pair stood together in awkward silence. Neither...
Hey, Snow?
It was Sapphire who broke the silence.
Huh?
You deserve to be happy too, you know.
She smiled at him in the same way that had melted his heart little by little during their time together, and for a moment he contemplated forcing her to stay.
You should go, Sapphire. Please. Before I end up doing something I'll regret.
As hard as it was for Snow to let her go, he knew deep in a sense she could never truly leave him. Sapphire didn't see it, but when she swallowed her sadness at their parting and stepped out into the snow, the eyes of her bear glittered.
Precious little Sapphire. You don't need to worry about anything anymore. I promise. I'll watch over you. And I promise, I will...
From that day forward, Snow watched her from afar, waiting for the day she would finally call on him to comfort her. He knew she needed space, so he was careful not to intrude. The last thing he wanted was to deceive her. Betrayal would be bitter, and so he had no choice but to conceal his half-truth. He didn't need Sapphire's permission to take advantage of the conduit he created for her. Oblivious to his actions, Snow shadowed Sapphire each and every day, subtly disposing of everyone who dared to stand in the way of her happiness. No matter the cost, he would secure her a future where she could smile.
Oh, interesting.
Ending 8, Guardian Angel.
And if I chose to stay, would it still be the same ending I got before?
Who said anything about going back?
Seems like a... Well, I don't know how they get the first ending. But I like to believe that there's a lovey-dovey ending for the two of them, where they live happily ever after. Yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful night, and hope to see you all again real soon. Bye for now.